So you've got a lot to learn on how to focus on maybe your skills and not on money, not chasing money. You are able to do things that are of a unique creation to you that comes within you. And those who are busy focusing on skills in terms of how to get wealth are those who are able to create products. When we look at what's happening in this world today, I think Elon Musk was actually number two as of some days ago. Now, Elon Musk, what was he doing? He was creating products and he was running services in different areas so that one can actually be able to. We are not all going to be working all through our life, but it is better for us to start putting in things as we go along the line. And we also talked about there are different ways that one can actually, there's four quadrants that we talked about. If you want to become wealthy, we say you should study. They normally say if you want to become an accountant, study accountancy. If you want to become a doctor, study medicine. If you want to become a lawyer, study law. If you want to become a Jewish, study Geo. But if you want to become wealthy, you're meant to put up a system. And you're meant to learn how to create wealth in the school. And in these four school of ours that we do now, they don't teach us some of these things. But tonight, we're going to learn a lot of things. We're going to be able to see different things in different perspectives. And you can't be wealthy without leveraging, without looking at other people's time, using OPM, other people's money, OPM, OPT, other people's time. When you look at that product, for example, let's say this particular product as it is. I don't know if everybody can see that. Can everybody see this product? Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, the guy who created this products to be able to serve as a means of translating so that there can be noise in different areas. And that product was created and can be circulated all over the world. One single product, but with different money, with different copies. And that product was not created in silos. It was created in conjunction with some partnerships. And on the journey to wealth creation, you've got to look for how to leverage on other people's skills, other people's time, other people's money, other people's products. What am I saying in other words is that there are what we do, which we call leveraging and also collaboration or connecting with people. Because there's nobody that is building wealth journey alone. You can never create any wealth in this life alone. You've got to just collaborate. I always tell people that the rich always collaborate, but the poor, they always like to compete. And in this family of Zillionaire, we're not competing here. We're here to hold ourselves, to hold our hands, to see how we can become more better, how we can collaborate, how we can practice some of these things that some of us have been doing over the years. We're not competing over anyone. And I bet me you, if you are religiously following this thing, I tell you, there's going to be sporadic change in anything you do as you go along the line. So, fellow Zillionaire, being wealthy, you've got to be a creator and not a consumer. A lot of people always think that no, I've got to consume it. No, you've got to look at it in different perspectives. And when you look at this holistically, the worst thing education has done for most of us is that it prepares us for the marketplace to job hunting. On a normal day, they tell us that we've got to go to school. When you go to school, you learn what is learnable, you pick it up. By the time you're done from that, Then you end up going to get a job. You get a job. At the end of the day, they tell you you've got to buy a car. You get married. You have kids. You buy a car. You have a house. Then you retire. That's what the normal family always say. But this is not why we're here. We're not here to settle for that class. We're here to become wealthy in all aspects of these 6 pillars I've mentioned. Lastly, if you want to become wealthy, you've got to put what I call a system in place. You have to solve the poor people always try to solve the problem of themselves alone. And wealthy people always solve the problem of others. When you look at the Ruperts, what are they doing? They solve the problem of others. When you look at Elon Musk, what is he doing? He's solving problems for others, not his own personal problem. But friends, this evening, I just want to ask just about 4 or 5 people to share what they've been able to do as an assignment, because I can see our guest speaker is in, just to see how many people that have actually been able to learn some lessons tonight. I mean, from our previous class, we gave an assignment in this community. We always give assignment. There were 20 questions that was posted. And I'm going to be asking Frank to lead these sessions. I want to know how you've been able to implement some of these 20 questions. I'm going to start with Frank. The 20 questions, how many have you been able to answer to date? For the sake of those that are not here last week, that are just joining us for the first time, I'm just going to be calibrating just to take some step backwards to read these questions to you, because these are basics of what on a journey of someone that wants to become wealthy needs to put in place. Number one question is, do you know your present financial condition or net worth? Number two is, are you satisfied with the present financial condition? Number three, are you aware of simple ways to increase your net worth? Number four, do you have enough savings to see you through 6 months of normal living expenses if you lose your job or that contract you're working on or that business you're operating? Number five was, do you save money on a regular basis? Number six, have you formed the habit of saving? Do you have, number seven is, do you have a well-defined documented financial goal? Do you have a bank account? Number eight. Number nine, do you reconcile your bank statements every month? Number 10 is, do you keep record of your income and expenditure? Number 11, do you know how much you spend in a month? Number 12, do you spend less than you earn? Number 13, do you avoid major credit purchases? Number 14, do you take advantage of all savings and investment opportunity that comes your way? Number 15, do you have any investment that help reduce your taxable income? Number 16, do you diversify your investments? Number 16 is, do you feel you have a brilliant financial advisor? Number 18, do you have a plan for your children's college and education? Number 19, do you own a house? Number 20, do you have a plan to retire in comfort? So on this note, I want to ask Frank Boateng, please do share your location with us, your name, location, and what have you done so far on this assignment that was given. 2 minutes for you.
All right, thank you, Doc, for the opportunity. Good evening, fellow Zillionaires. Yes.
Go ahead.
My name is Frank, as Doc mentioned. I'm in Ghana currently. Among the 20 questions, at a glance, I was able to do 1 to 8, of which the answers are very, very straightforward. And question 1, it asks if I knew my present financial condition or net worth. The answer for me is no. There's no, I don't know if I should explain. But with time, I'll leave that out and move to 2. Am I satisfied with my present financial condition? Obviously, no. Again, am I aware of the simple ways to increase my net worth? It's a bit confusing. If I had able to answer the first one, then it will still be yes. But since I said no, it is still no here at point 3. That's from my side. 4. Do I have enough savings to see through 6 months of normal living expenses? That's a bit tricky as well. So I'll leave that hanging. I'm unable to say either yes nor no. Do I save money on a regular basis? Yes. Have I formed the habit of savings? Yes. Do I have a well-defined documented financial goal? Somehow. Yeah. So it keeps changing. Do I have a bank account? Yes. Do I reconcile my bank statement every month? Yes. Do I know how much I spend in a month? Yes. Do I spend less than what I earn? No. Do I avoid major credit purchases? Yes. Do I take advantage of all savings and investment opportunities that come my way? No. Do I have any investment that helps reduce my taxable income? Yes. Do I diversify my investments? Diversification, not that much. So once it's more than one, so I'll say yes at this point. A few here and there. Do I feel if I have a brilliant financial advisor? By virtue of the fact that I have a bank account and every bank account per my bank, I have a bank relationship manager. So in one way or the other, I speak to my relationship manager on some issues. So yes. Do I own a house? Yes. Do I have a plan to retire in comfort? It is exercise in progress. So basically, that is from my end. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Zillionaire Frank, for that. On this note, I want to ask Elmo Tuniso. Elmo, can you hear me? Can you hear us? Elmo? Or let's ask Busisiwe. Sana? Busisiwe?
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, yes. I missed the first session, so I didn't know about the homework. Sorry.
Okay. Let me call on Michelle. I think Michelle is 24. Okay, Nasima, Venezuela.
Greetings, fellow Zillionaires.
And where are you calling from, or where are you joining from?
I'm joining from South Africa, Johannesburg.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
Okay, so for most of the questions, I had no. And the questions that really did hit me hard were question 9. If do I reconcile my bank statements, knowing how much I spend every month, and also the question 20. Question 19, do I own a house? Question 20, do I also diversify my portfolio investments? Yeah, that hit me hard. So I've been counting every cent since that week we've started. So let's see what happens this month and the following one and going forward. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. On this note, I'm just going to take about two more people. Colleagues, friends, fellow Zillionaires, you join me. We are on a journey to hold our hands to get to where we want to get to. I made my very first 1 million when I was at the age of 23. And today, through the grace of God, I can boldly say it anywhere, anytime, that God is faithful. We have businesses over in about 6, 7 countries. We don't even need to be there before the business runs itself. And I know I have some of colleagues here that are also partners, 1 or 2 of them. And my main business partner is one that's going to be leading us for tonight's session. And normally, the very first session I had with South African colleagues was one of our business partners as well. It was actually for about 2 days for those who were in there. But tonight, I'm sure by the time we're done, you will agree with me that yes, indeed, where has this kind of growth been? Normally, if we are to speak, if I'm to invite my business partner, if he's to speak somewhere else that I do know of, it charges nothing less than 50,000 US dollars. And by the time it's leaving that room or that auditorium or that gathering, you always want more. But I don't want to say much. But I want to call on, let me see. Let me pick on, I think Globe is joining us for the first time. Some other colleagues. Let me call on Pastor Tabo. Pastor Tabo, the assignments, how have you been so far for the assignments for the week? Can you share your experience with us? And how many of them have you been able to answer religiously?
Evening, fellow Zillionaires. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Where are you joining from?
No, me, my name is Tabo. As I was introduced as Pastor Tabo, my name is Tabo. I'm from Pretoria in South Africa. So for me, I am taking this thing as a, what do you call it? A template moving forward, because of most of them, it's a no, because of it's something that you really have to have, but you think, no, it's okay as long as I know this, like reconciling a bank account. It's very much important to know which each and every cent, where is it going, and how much are you charged by the bank. So to trace each and every cent, how it goes, unlike looking at the balance, because of normally we look at the balance. If you look at the balance, we have that, then you say, no, I have money, but how are you spending it? It becomes a problem. And then another one that I saw is investment. I have started small, but I think I must push it to a level whereby I can be comfortable to say, really, I am an investor. I know how to invest. And yeah, and then I don't have a bank, somebody who advises me on my financials. I think that is very much important. But for me, I'm thinking I will comfortably answer this in about 6 months' time, looking at to say where I've started and where I am. I think I've achieved enough, looking at things like the house, looking at the financial stability, and looking at many things. So for most of them, it's a no. So I'll take this as a template moving forward to say, in 6 months' time, comfortably, I'll judge myself looking at this to say at least 75% of them, I have them, and then I'm working on maybe another 15% just to complete the whole thing. So for me, I think that's it. So most of them, even if I go to one, it will be a no on most of them. But thank you very much.
Thank you for being honest. Okay, let me call on another person. Who again? Let me call on. Okay, let me call in Eri Yambayanze, Mr. Eri. Mr. Eri, are you with us? We can't hear you, Mr. Eri. Okay, so while he might be trying to sort out some of those things, I always tell people that never listen to a motivational speaker or a coach who does not have evidence to show you. Right. In our home, as a family, we practice everything we preach. Now, for example, this is a company, one of the business company inflow, outflow, mandatory loan, what. So this is one of the businesses. This is a family budget. What we do, what to spend on monthly basis, how much we spend. This 104,000 for what. That's about 100 and something thousand a month. Then that was for first month, another month, like that. When you go on and on from day to day, up until what's today's date? This is June 21, 22. It means 22, 23. There's no expenses going out. We have income streams, we have monthly direct debits, we have investment, we have retirement, we have so on and so forth, like that. That's an example. Another company as well, we do have what goes in, what comes out. As an example, we just cite an example, tuition fee estimates for this, for that, and all this kind of thing. Example. And also, this is another. So we have templates that we do. When I'm saying some of these things, I tell you, if you want to become wealthy, guys, these 20 questions are pillars. And it also takes communication and it takes honesty within yourself. Now, when you ask me, do you know your present financial condition or net worth? I can basically tell you X amount of millions in dollars. I can tell you that because we do have financial advisors that can actually estimate what we have. We might not look like what we have, but I can tell you we are religious about wealth creation. As a family, as our children, every one of them, we're very, very interested in everything up until 22 businesses we have. Are you satisfied with the present financial condition? I can tell you there's nobody who's wealthy in this life that will tell you that yes, they're satisfied. But nevertheless, I'll say not yet there, but almost there. And for myself, or as a family, are you aware of the simple ways to increase your net worth? Absolutely correct. Yes, we do. And on a daily basis is the work that we make sure we meet those targets in different diversifications. We have more than about 20-something portfolios in different areas. If you ask me, do you have enough savings to see you through in 6 months? No more living expenses if you lose the job or the business or the work? I can tell you yes, boldly, without even going to the bank and say, hey, banks, please borrow me this. Do you save more on a regular basis? We're not here to say we're competing with anybody. Do you save more? Yes, we do in different areas, and I do in different areas. Have you formed the habit of savings? Because what you save will save you in the days where things are not all right. Do you have a well-defined documented financial goal? Yes, we do, and I do as an individual. Do you reconcile your bank statements every month? I started reconciling my bank statements about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. I never knew that the bank, most times, Barclays Bank in the UK would charge me X amount of money on a monthly basis for transactions. NatWest would charge me for this. Nigerian banks, about 5 of them will charge you for it. Then I ask, okay, you know what, guys? Can you sit down and look at everything that goes in and out? I don't have time. They reconcile everything. At the end of the day, there were a lot of loopholes. There's some money that the banks even charged me that I don't even know. And I got back millions in a year over some couple of years that I didn't even actually know about. So now, do you keep a record of your income and expenditure? I think you've been able to see. There are a lot of templates out there that you can also download online. Do you know how much you spend on a monthly basis? Yes. Do you spend less than you earn? Yes. Do you avoid major credit purchases? If it's going to be business, because there are good debts and there are bad debts. It all depends on the individual. Do you take advantage of all service and investment opportunities that comes your way? Absolutely, yes. Because if you don't prepare, opportunity never comes when you're not expecting it. It comes just when you don't even think you have anything. When you've got to always make sure you put things in place so that things can become more better at that time. So when you look at this in different angles, do you have investment that can help reduce the taxable incomes? Is that another thing? Do you diversify your investments? Do you feel you have brilliant financial advice, sir, and things like that? Colleagues, zillionaires, I want to tell you, if you are religious about this, you would know that, yes, indeed, these questions are mandatory for you to be able to answer religiously. It's not a thing that actually happened in a day, but it's a thing that actually happened over the month, over the year. But if you are, the way we normally go to school on a daily basis or we go to work, they say you must report to work around 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. If you do that religiously for a working place and you take your personal foundational questions on this, I tell you, you will never have any cause to regret about this. Do you have a plan for your children, their colleges, their education? Our kids from different countries to the other, we have different plans for them. And this thing takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of sacrifices. Do you know own a house? I can say houses, not a house. Quite a lot of them. Do you have a plan to retire in comfort? Is another question again that one keep. Absolutely. I'm retiring in about 3 years' time by the grace of God. My initial plan was to retire when I'm 40, but I added just 1 year more so that I can actually see how some of these other new businesses we created in South Africa can actually, because any business that lasts for more than 5 years has come to stay in every of our practices for businesses. So I think I want to take one more person tonight. Let's see. And again, I didn't just get here today, or we didn't just get here today. It's a thing that actually happened over the years, over time. It takes patience to be wealthy. If you want to rush on that road, you might not get there on time. You might tumble. That's why when you're going on the motorway, there is what we call traffic lights. There are some places you have to run 60 kilometers per hour, some 30 kilometers per hour, some you run 120 kilometers per hour. So everything, as we are doing this way, is a journey. I didn't just get here, but I just want us to know that we're just here to support ourselves. We're not competing, and I'm happy that my brother is actually getting that. And I want to take just one more person for tonight before we actually go into the real business of the day for tonight. So on this note, can I call on, I don't know if Eri, if you're I don't know if he's here. Eri Yamayazi, are you online now? Can you hear us? Maybe the network, because I don't know. Maybe it might be network. Okay. Who was in the class last week? Let me ask randomly. That wants to share what they've learned. Who was in the class last week? Anyone? Go ahead. Let's hear you. Machidiso, is it? I thought you wanted to say something. Who was in the class last week when we were actually having that conversation last week? I mean 2 weeks ago. Kobaka, were you in class? Were you in the session 2 weeks ago when we were having this conversation for this? And I believe you must have done some of the assignments.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, the previous last I missed it. Oh, okay, let me introduce myself properly. Kiaobaka Piri, based in Johannesburg. The previous class I missed it, but I think we have had our own session previously. I think when we were going through our class, when you were the first meeting that we had, where we touched some of the questions actually that are here amongst the 20. So I'll just run through them based off what I have done, because I did look at them and just do a bit of homework and also introspection around them. So question one is one that actually stood out for me because I've never went that far to think about my net worth. You know how we are, like one thing that you said, doctor, that we build families based off going to work, getting married, having kids, buying cars there and there, and that's it. So net worth is something that I believe a lot of us, we don't think that far about it. Uh, Question number two, I'm not satisfied with my present financial condition because I have seen that on a single salary, you can never get to place. You can never reach your goals. You can never reach your goals. It's just hand to mouth. Number three, am I aware of simple ways to increase my net worth? I think one of the gentlemen did mention that if question one was a no, it's not easy for you to say you have ideas on how to increase your net worth. So I think I fall around there as well. I don't know ways to increase my net worth. Do you have enough to see you through 6 months? And no, that's a no for me. I don't have. I think it's because maybe I've been busy with one of the projects, which I will share a bit down when I get to, I think I think it's question number 19 is. Do you save money regularly? Yes, I do save when I have a chance. Uh, a habit of saving, I think I'm not 100% on it because when time goes on, I keep on going back there, especially in terms of what I'm currently doing. I don't have a well-defined, documented financial, how do I put it? I think my financial goals, I still need a bit of guidance around them. I have a starting point. I have started to make a bit of progress around there. I do have a bank account. I don't fully reconcile my bank statement. I think I only look at my expenditure. That's one thing that I really need to start looking at when it comes to my bank statement. I would say I have a bit of an idea of how much I spend per month, and I do spend less than what I earn. I have avoided major purchases where I can because I was using that. I forgot the name of the method whereby you start first by paying smaller things and you go back to bigger things that you also. I have tried my best to clear up my credit. When it comes to do you take advantage of all the savings and investment opportunity that comes my way? I think I haven't taken advantage of all of them, but I have started with what I'm currently doing. I don't have any investment that helps to reduce taxable income, which is something that I need to look into. I don't have the diversified investments. I think I have only recently started into going into this investment thing more this year because I have ventured into the business of property and accommodation, like where you purchase a smaller house and expand it and get people into there and they start paying there, then you make an extra income and be able to double pay the house. So yes, number 18, I do have a plan for my daughter as college and education. And number 19, yes, I do own one property. I have just signed for the second one. Uh, I think my plan to retire comfortably is not fully waterproofed. I still need people like Doctor to push me into the right direction when it comes to that and become a zillionaire, because I want to retire as a zillionaire, not just a millionaire or a billionaire. A zillionaire is the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And by the way, I have a testimony. I think maybe you should be the one to even say it before we actually. So, can you just give us a bit of one testimony from what has happened to you since about just one session with you? Is it one or two?
It was one session actually. Yeah, the first session when we met up for. Yes, Doctor.
Yeah.
I think it was the session when we met up for our capstone, but after that we sat down and started talking about investment. We started talking about uh, how to break the chain of poverty, because a lot of us, we come from families whereby either we are raised by a single parent, and certain spaces we have never tapped into it. So there is that fear of failure. I remember after I had my first session with you, I did tell you that no, I have been having this idea of going into this property development business, but I was scared because I've never seen anyone in my family or even around me do it. And after the first session that we had, I just went in and started getting plans done for the house, started getting purchasing material and what, and the properties actually, I'm nearly done with it. Hopefully the end of July, I should start having tenant to occupy the place. So that's how just one meeting pushed me to just go out of the comfort zone, because every time I get told that, when somebody looks at me, they will say, we see a billionaire, we see the potential, because even when I talk the ideas that I normally give to people, some they take them and they even in a space where they earn more than me. So this time I just said to myself, I need to learn how to take my own medicine, and whatever that will be prescribed by doc, to say, you know what, do it like this. When you are stuck, come back to us. We will help you, because we have been exposed to this space. And I think we are really privileged to be around people like you, Doctor, because, like what I mentioned, a lot of us, we are coming from backgrounds whereby there's certain untapped spaces. And because of we have never seen people around us achieve those things, we are still scared. But once you have somebody who can hold your hand and say, this is the right direction, we are going far. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I don't want to actually talk that to be very, very big. And that was actually from 1 unit to become 6 units. You can do the mathematics. I know from the next few months, you can imagine somebody who's looking at 4,000 now, earning about 30, 40 grand a month from site also. Do the mathematics, and I'll leave you with that. So, right, we will be getting into the major session in about 5-10 minutes. But I just want you to keep inviting all your friends that are not here yet, because tonight is going to be very, very powerful. But nevertheless, I always tell people that the poor, they always talk about money. Every time you see them, what they always talk about is money. And when you look at it, the rich people, what do they always talk about? They talk about things to solve. I always say poor people always discuss about people, and the wealthy ones discuss about ideas. So now, the wealthy ones, what do they talk about? Ideas. And this is where we are tonight. I want to say, let me start introducing one of my brother, my friends, who I call mentor of mentors. If you've never had an encounter with him before, you see by listening and also by hearing. So it is a privilege to have my business partner, my brother, Hyeladi Haruna. He's a highly accomplished entrepreneur. He's a venture capitalist, a personal career development expert with an impressive academic background and numerous professional accomplishments. I can't even count how many doctorates. When they say money doesn't make noise, I think later on, when we're done with this session, you'll be able to understand what I mean. Some people have had just one session or two sessions with one of my colleagues, a friend of mine, Mr. Omugo. But You've not even seen anything yet. So, right, as well as postgraduate diploma, MBA from American Management University, he has MSc, PhD in Business Administration and Leadership from Gideon Roberts University. He's a certified public accountant, CPA, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management and Leadership in the United States of America, a fellow of Institute of Certified Public Accountant of Nigeria, and the fellow of Institute of Corporate Administration of Nigeria, in addition to his impressive academic qualification. Dr. Hyeladi Haruna is the chairman of 4 companies, including the HIPAA Group, a personal business development company, Progenesis Business School, an institute that focuses on financial coaching and business mentoring. Indai Technologies Limited, a technology-based company that focuses on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And Lux Villa Homes and Real Estate, a construction and real estate firm that focuses on estate development and construction works. He's also involved in professional mining of solid minerals and other profitable businesses. I'm expected to be seeing those emojis going on in the chat session. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's keep on. Hyeladi has an outstanding achievement that have been recognized with numerous local and international awards. He's been a trainer and personal coach to presidents in the world, in the global space. Guys, I don't want to make too much noise about my brother. He's a United Nations Peace Ambassador, Federation Award for Ambassador for Peace. He's also a recipient of honorary degrees from London to US to Canada to Australia in different areas, different segmentations. And he is also a board, he belongs to many board members of different companies. Council of Compound, International College of Health, Sciences, Management, Technologies in different countries, is a member of several professional bodies. I want to see the emoji. Come on, guys. Keep on, come on, let's go. Over the last decade, I've gotten to know my brother in different areas. We've done a lot of businesses, and we're also still doing a lot of businesses, from real estate to consulting, from most of the world military experts that you might be thinking about, Major General in one country to the other, the FBIs. He is one of the masterminds behind some of those trainings. And as well, you can also Google a lot of things that I'm talking about. He has taught over 130,000 people across 4 continents through live seminars, workshops, webinars, personally mentored over 11,000 people, including CEOs of conglomerates of multi-billionaire companies, top politicians from different countries to the other, clergymen. And I remember there was a day I went with my brother to one particular headquarters of church, and he was speaking of the topic that says the world, and the Bible is not the word of God. By the time it was done, the whole church stood up and they were clapping. Some started crying. Some wants to give a hug. People that are home, that are clergy, that they thought they know everything about the word of God. You know what, guys? He has played a key role in several successful ventures, including a historic sales campaign that made revenues over $5.3 billion in first 30 days of businesses for an international company, for example. He has helped a lot of processes. Last time, some of you actually saw my brother, Mr. Mugo. I can tell you, some people learn from some people. So when I say he's mentor of mentors, I can tell you that he has trained over 3,000 groups in 2 months. My brother, my friend, is a true inspiration who believes in human potentials and power of knowledge to unlock successes that has helped different avenues of people realizing, discovering their purpose, increasing their network, outstanding success in his career, and has made a positive impact in the lives of others. Friends, colleagues, fellow Zillionaires, please do help me welcome Mr. Dr. Engineer Hyeladi Haruna. Over to you, my brother. And I want to go offline now. And I do believe You will do justice to it. Go for it.
Awesome, awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you, brother. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. How are you? How is everything going? And
Doing
I don't know if you
wonderful,
can.
wonderful, 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 wonderful.
Awesome, awesome,
So,
awesome.
honestly, you can
I
also
think,
talk. He's asking how are we.
okay. I think I'm the most excited person in this whole program this evening because when I received the invitation from my brother, Dr. Julius, he has been an amazing fellow, amazing friend. And one of the things I like about him is the humble spirit that he have. And he's an amazing individual, really. And also he have a high teachable spirit. This is someone that despite how God is blessing him and continuously to bless him, he is willing to learn, he is willing to expand. And I think that is what is necessary in today's world. And I can promise you guys today is just going to be the beginning of great things that's going to happen. Now, I'm here. For me, I just feel like I'm not in a meeting where it's all about probably a kind of another seminar or presentations. Obviously, none of those things. I am just here because I believe I'm part of this family, and we are going to work together to be able to achieve greatness together. And this is what I tell people often. You know, if you know where you're going, your journey is short. If you know how to get there, your journey becomes shorter. But if you have someone that has been there and is willing to help you, then you're already there. And I am confident because all my life I'm a product of knowledge, I'm a product of learning, I'm a product of mentorship. And today I'm going to share with you some things that some of it may be new to some people, and some of it may not even be new to some of you. But here is my excitement. I have taught some of the basic principles that I'm going to share with you. By the way, today is just a foundation. I have taught people in more than 50 countries around the world, and I have shared these ideas with business people, as you have said, and top executives, and I've seen literal transformation in their life. And here's the thing. I bet you if you wait to the end of this sessions that we're going to have, you're going to evaluate for yourself to see whether some of the ideas that you're going to share, whether they're going to be worth your time. But this is what I know. It has always worked for me. And I remember my foundation, especially in this area, is goes back to a long time ago. Many years ago, I was in a place in my life where things were not working, and I was not happy with the state of my life. I knew somewhere in my heart that I deserve more. But for some reason, it's like the more I try, the less I tend to get result that I want. I don't know if you're here, probably you have similar experiences, but to be very honest, I've not had it easy. I will never forget some moments where I will sit down and I'll cry to God and I'll say, God, but you are a good God. Why are you allowing me to go through these challenges, through this difficult moment? And I have tried many businesses, it didn't work out. I've tried many investment, didn't work out. In fact, I will make money from the little businesses and put them in investment. And just as fast as I was putting those money, that's how as fast as they were going. And it was not rosy, but here is one thing I learned. Everything you've been through is needed for where you're going. And every experience that you've experienced in your life is to guide you to make a better choice next time. I am where I am today by the grace of God and also by the experience that God have allowed me to experience in those times. And today, I'm going to share with you some. It's going to blow some of you people's mind. And because I also understand how human mind works and how learning works, I'm not going to bug you with a lot of information. I'm going to share with you very simple, specific, direct ideas that you will implement to your life, in your life, and you're going to begin to see radical change. And by the way, remember I said this is just a foundation program. This program that I'm going to show you have helped me to move from, just like I said. In fact, there was a time my brother There was a time I was almost literally, I could say I was literally homeless. I know many of you cannot relate on this call because I'm sure most of you here from what my brother told me, most of you are doing well. I'm sure most of you probably did not have the kind of experience that I had to be in a situation where you can almost say that you are homeless. Yeah, but in that state, I learned some formulas and I applied those formulas and it worked. But the amazing thing was that it didn't only work for me. Literally every human being I've taught those formulas, that have applied them, I have seen significant changes in their life. And so today is just going to be introductory, just like I said, but I just want to know how many of you really desire some quantum change, want to see some big, change in your life this year. Now, if you want to see some big change, I just want to see your hand. I just want to see your hands up there. That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, let me tell you, don't be deceived about the year. Maybe some people are saying that with the year is already half gone. I told someone that don't be concerned about the calendar because the year is only as useful as the time. I mean, the year is only as useful as the value you drive out of the time. Some people can drive 1 year value in 1 month, and some people can drive 1 month value in 1 year. So the year is not as important as the value you drive out of it. And you can't create value unless you're knowledgeable. And the advantage of having certain specific knowledge is that, it reduces your mistakes and accelerates the rate of your success. And that's why I'm confident. In fact, let me tell you a story about someone that applied some of the principles that I'm going to share with you. The first time I heard about it, I read about him was Robert Allen. I'm sure most of you guys know Robert Allen. He wrote a book called The Road to Wealth. And permit me to just use 5 minutes to brush across, to just give you a little background about how those things helped me first, so that you can evaluate to see whether it's going to help you. Now, when I finished school, many years ago, I started a business and I was doing well until one day, everything I worked for, my business, I was robbed because I applied some of the few principles of what I'm going to teach you. And I went to this new location, I applied that formula, and in 6 months, my business, boom, skyrocketed. I became the envy of people that have been in that line of business for 10, 15 years. So they connived together and they came with a van at night. They ransacked my shop and they emptied everything in my shop. They moved everything away. And I remember my brother knew about it. I remember, I was up and all of a sudden someone said down, but I said, no, I wasn't down. I was minus down. I don't know if you've been to a place in your life where you're praying that God help me to be broke. Broke, if you can just make me to be broke, I will just be fine. Because now you're in a situation where you are highly indebted, and your prayer is, if God can help you to just be broke and not be indebted, you will just be fine. So that was the situation I was, but it didn't happen. And I don't know why sometimes in life it's like when you are in one trouble, more trouble seems to surface. I don't know why it happens like that, but that was what happened. It was the certain moment in my life when I was in my difficult state, and it seems like more trouble tend to surmount. And that was the time also I happened to renew I was supposed to renew my rent, and I didn't have money to pay. So my landlord came and said, I said it. I knew from the start that you will be able to afford the first year, but you might not be able to afford it for the second year. So he sent me back and I had to leave and I didn't know where to go. Let me tell you, friends, you see, in terms of prosperity, your friends knows you. But in terms of adversity, that's when you know who are your really friends. It was during that moment when I call people left, right, I say, hey, listen, this is the small challenge I'm experiencing. I just needed a place I could lay down my head to sort myself out. No help was coming from anywhere. It continued. So I was left with small money and I went out of town to a very far place, and I rented a place. It's almost an uncompleted building. Maybe during the course of our sessions, I'm going to show you a picture, literally a picture. You're going to see that. That was where I was living, but I already know in my heart that I was just there for a moment. And that is the kind of self-confidence that if you're in this call, if you're in this meeting tonight, the self-confidence that you're going to have after this meeting, you will know that except if it's an act of God, if they keep you, they take you to any part of this world, in any location, if you're given just a little period of time, you will be able to go back, rise, from nothing to build conglomerate of businesses and become successful. That's the self-confidence that you're going to have. And I'm very confident because I know this for a fact. It happens to me and it happens to thousands of people all over. All right. So I know within that time, it was, challenging time. So I had to check a long distance, one moment to get some money from my friend. But when I got that money, there is this thing that when you are addicted to a particular thing, I've been an addict reader. So I used that money. A guy was now, most of you might not be conversant with my experience here, but from where I'm presently living, sometimes when you are driving on the, you tend to see this guy selling books by the roadside. And so I happens to get these two books, and I'm recommending these books for all of you on the call tonight. Everybody in this call, I want you to buy these books and I want you to read it. All right. So the first book is called Think and Grow Rich. So I saw this book, and remember, I have read thousands of books up until that time, but I don't know why. It's a very popular book, but why is it that up until that time I haven't read the book? I didn't know why. So, but this thing, when I saw the book, I said, well, let me just buy it. And when I browsed little information about the book Think and Grow Rich, what I saw is that an average millionaire in America have read the book at least 14 times. An average millionaire in America have read Think and Grow Rich at least 14 times. And I remember one of the things that my mentor used to tell me. He said, Hyeladi, humility is not a personality trait, but it's recognizing that you don't have something. True humility is not a personality trait, but recognizing that you don't have something. And this is what I told myself. I said, listen, if a multi-millionaire in dollars, I've read this book 14 times, how much more me? What about me that ain't got any $1 million in my account or even in my name? So I vowed that I was not going to read it 14 times, but I was going to read it 40 times. Today, if you take that book, Think and Grow Rich, I can literally almost spill the book for you word to word. That is not to say that I've memorized the book, no, but it's just that I've read it more enough that if you start a sentence, I can literally almost complete that sentence. Yeah. So the second book was Road to Wealth. And that's the foundation of our class today. Now, in the Road to Wealth, Robert Allen is the author of Road to Wealth. He says something in the book. He said, take me to any part of the world. Pay attention, please. He said, take me to any part of the world. Give me $100 for living expenses. And in 90 days, I will return as a multimillionaire. I repeat. He said, give me $100 and take me to any part of the world, anywhere. And I can tell you for a fact, after this call, this is literally what probably is going to happen to most of you that are already on this call. He said, just $100 for living expense and take me to anywhere around the world. And in 90 days, I will return as a multi-millionaire. Wow. Till this day, I tell people, you see, as a public figure, sometimes you have to be careful what you say, because sometimes people can take you to your word and people can challenge you to your word. And that was what exactly happened as of that time.
Well, I think we're experiencing network from Hyeladi side. Oh, fantastic. You're back now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So this organization took Robert Allen to a city. They took all his phones, all his contacts, every access that he had under a strict supervision. And they gave him 90 days. And they gave him $100 for living expenses. And after that 90 days, he bought a house worth $7.3 million from nothing. Wow. And someone said, well, maybe he may be lucky, because whatever poor people don't understand, they call it luck. But you can create your luck. And part of my assignment is that I'm going to teach you how to create your luck, but it will be on subsequent meetings. All right. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. And with my brother, he have the blueprint as well, but I'm not sure whether he was ready, to drop some of those. So, but by the way, it's a journey. Life is a journey. So people said, maybe, well, it's a luck. So they said, let's do it again. So they took him to another state, stripped him of all his contacts, everything under a camera, strict supervision. And in 90 days, he repeated the same thing. And people say, wow. They're beginning to say, maybe there must be something here, really. So they said, if it happened once, it may be luck. But if it happened 2 times, it might not probably be luck. If it happens 3 times. So Robert Allen did it consecutively for the 3rd time and repeated and got the same result. So he got angry and he said, why will people challenge me simply because I made that statement? Simply because I said, give me $100 for living expenses, take me to any part of the world, and in 90 days, I will be a millionaire. He said, let's change the narratives right now. And that's what's going to happen for most of you already on this call tonight. He said, now, it's not about me. He said, bring any poor man from any part of the world. Listen very well. He said, bring any poor man from any part of the world. All right? Under a single condition, that they're going to have high level of desire. The reason why he said that is because you can't help anybody that doesn't have a desire for anything. That is why Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich said that desire is the starting point for all great and meaningful achievement. No great accomplishment is ever attained without desire. In fact, as a matter of fact, everything that ever comes to you comes because of that single thing, the desire. Nothing happens without desire. So for the very first time in my life, I saw a situation where poverty became a requirement. I mean, yeah, they said whatever has an advantage has a disadvantage, but I've always asked people, what is the advantage of poverty? So maybe until that time, for those set of people, maybe poverty helped. So what happened was that they got some poor people, they screened them on the levels of their poverty and got some of them, and he exposed them to some of these principles that I will be sharing with you. Probably I'm definitely sure time will never allow us to be able to share everything, but out of maybe 20 to 50 principles that I've learned, I might probably take like 2 or 3 and share it with you guys. But you're going to evaluate based on those 2 or 3 and see for yourself to see whether it's worth your time. So, but here's the amazing thing. After he took those people in, he taught them and taught them what they're supposed to know. He worked with them closely. After 90 days, most of them did not become millionaires. Some became millionaires. But here is one thing that is common across all of them. None of them ever have to be poor for the rest of their lives again. And I repeat, he said, most of them never have to be poor for the rest of their lives again. And that's what I tell people. Any result that you have that you can't repeat for the second time, the first one was a mistake. Yeah. So this is what he said. And here is the establishment of some of the principles. He said, why will people be angry? He said, true success is not about what you have. True success is about who you become. Because listen, guys, whatever you have, you can lose. But whoever you become, you keep. repeat, success is not about what you have, it's about who you become. Why? Whatever it is that you have, you can lose, but whatever you become, you keep. I used to tell people that the best thing about going to medical college to become a doctor is not the certificate. If I take away the certificate from you after your medical college, it doesn't make you less than a doctor. Because what makes you a doctor is the process that you went through that produces you, that actually makes you a doctor. The certificate is just to attest to the fact that you have gone through the process. But if I take away that certificate, it doesn't in any way makes you less than who you are. And the same thing with success. If the variables of success, the thing that makes you success, if your success comes as a result of fundamental processes that you follow, which you've mastered, which you've allowed yourself to follow those processes and become the success, you'll not be scared of losing anything. You know, as I travel around the world, I meet a lot of people, especially some people that stumble on money. Because here's the thing, you can stumble on money, but you can't stumble on true success. You can stumble on contract, relationship that will bring you contract, that you make big money, you buy big house, big car, and start oppressing people around you. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're a successful person, because if I take away those factors away from you, you may not be able to repeat it again. And any result you have that you can't repeat for the second time, you borrowed the first one. The first one was a mistake. So you don't want to live your life based on that mistakes. So guys, after those processes, when I saw that, I said, wow, yes, that's it. I said, at least I have a hope. And there is this thing that's with me that literally anything that I learned, I always like to share it with people. I remember this desire has been as many years ago, even when I was very, very young, at a very young age. And other people, in fact, I said, and this is what I tell some of my friends, I say, come, I'm going to teach you how to be rich. Maybe you can permit me, let me just share my screen and share with you one or two things. Maybe the journey maybe it may be more interesting. Okay. Okay. Right. I don't know if you're seeing my screen.
Yes, we can
Yes, we
see
can.
it.
Okay.
Yes, we can
What are you
see
seeing
it.
on the screen? Is a blank page, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. So, okay. That's fine. So, what happened? I remember that time I went around and I started gathering people. I said, hey guys, come, I'm going to teach you how to be rich. And I'm confident that you cannot master these things and your life will not turn around. So what I did, we started in under 3. And unfortunately, during the rainy days, things went out of proportion. It was rainy and we had to locate a nearby primary school. And I don't know if you can see me there. If you can see me, let me know so that I know whether I should continue.
I think you need to move your next slides.
Can I get a response?
You need to move your slide. We can't see it. Go to the next slides.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
Yes, we can see it now.
We can see, and we can see you.
I can't see anything. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay, you can see it. Yeah? Oh, that's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, we
That's
see
fine.
you. We
Yeah.
see you
So,
in the
so that was me then. That's awesome. So that's at this point that means the ministry have grown. We have moved from a primary school somewhere, and then from under 3 to a primary school, and it was really amazing. You know, I remember one time the owner of the primary school was passing by and he saw us he came in and he asked me, he said, "What are you guys doing here?" And I didn't know what to say. I'm sure most of you can see my oversized coat there, you know. Um, and I was quiet. He asked, he said, "What are you guys doing here?" I said, "Sir, I'm I'm actually teaching them how to be rich." And he just couldn't wrap his head around what I said. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Sir," at this point I started stammering. I said, "Sir, I'm teaching them how," you know. So he left the hall and he went outside to see whether he was going to see a proof of, because of course I can't teach people how to be rich if I am not rich myself. So he checked whether he was going to see a car. He didn't see any car. Whether he was going to see, even if it's a keke napep or that bicycle or anything, he couldn't see any proof of those things. He came back. He said, "What are you doing? What are you teaching them here?" I said, "Sir, I'm teaching them how to be rich." At this point, I was scared. So he carried stick and chased us out of the place. He said, "Never should I ever see you people here again." So we scattered and I gathered my people, just like the way Jesus gathered his disciples. And I told them, I said, "Listen, this thing that I'm going to teach you, that I'm teaching you, I know it does work. But the best way to terminate insult is massive success." I said, "Results terminate insult. And the best revenge for failure is massive success." I said, "Maybe he is right. Maybe it's time that I should go out to experiment and test in the practice of all the theories, of all the ideas, the knowledge, the information that I've acquired, to experiment it myself to see whether if it works before I come back. But listen, Robert Allen promised you 90 days, but I can't promise 90 days. But here is my promise. I promise you 180 days, which is 90 days times 2. And guys, guess what? 90 days times 2, it didn't happen. We left and I went to start experimenting some of the principles that I'm going to share with you guys. And immediately, before the 90 days, just before the 90 days, it happened. I started seeing significant change in my life. And I said, well, so I didn't know all this while that there is a science to wealth. I remember one of the first time I had a chance to meet one of my billionaire mentors right now. I met him somewhere in Cancun City in the US, in Mexico, in Cancun City in Mexico. I was taking a walk by the beach and
Oh, I think that must have been network. I do believe we're all getting values. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Fantastic. So I do believe it's going to be connecting 2 minutes now. So yeah. Oh, my brother.
Okay,
welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So just around that 90 days, I said, I'm going to go back and come back after 90 days time, which is 180 days. But I didn't come back after 90 days times 2 because they didn't get to see me. They just saw me on the internet. I was in Atlanta. I was even in South Africa there with you guys. I was in Hong Kong. I was in the Hollywoods. Everywhere I've ever wanted to be in my life. And within my first 30 days, I bought my first brand new tier leader. That was then. Of course, now I've had the pleasure to enjoy some of the most luxurious cars in the world. But that was the day of the little beginning, by the way. And I don't know if you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
I was everywhere. I was with my brothers in Zambia, Livingston, was at the Hollywood, was Zimbabwe. I was there with you guys in South Africa, I was in Singapore, and literally everything that I've ever wanted, it all happened within that 90 days times 2. I was in Sentosa Beach and Island, Saloko Beach, Universal Studios. You know, I was going literally everywhere: China, Hong Kong, Georgia, Atlanta. I was in the US, Cancun, everywhere that I've ever wanted to be in my life. Everything changed overnight because I know those principles and I apply them. And guess what? I came back and I said, hey guys, I'm going to teach you how to be wealthy. And guess what now? Everybody wanted to be in my session. But the biggest problem was that to be in my session in those days was $5,000. And I tell people, I say, hey, listen, you can choose to come, but here is the thing. If you have a desire for $1 million, but the only thing that's going to stand between you and your $1 million is $5,000 to learn some secrets, which are not actually secret at all. It's just that the ignorance of it is what makes it a secret. That if you only apply those secrets, I can guarantee that your life is going to transform and change around. And I say, hey, listen, I want everybody to come. And my classes are always full. My brother is not, is aware about it. And thousands of people, hundreds of people, and people travel from different parts of the world to be in my session. I remember one of the time, you know, I was having a session and I have this governor in my session, and he said, Hyeladi, if actually some of these things that you are teaching me right now, if I had known these things 10 years ago, I would have probably been richer than Dangote, who happens to be the richest man in Africa, as of, right? He said, but it's not a problem. So he invited me to his state. He declared public holiday in the whole state when I was coming to the state. In fact, after my session, the governor stood up and forced me to sit on the governor's seat. And it continues. Of course, I had the sessions, different places, went to the US, had conferences and everything. But guess what? This is how we start. That was the days of the little beginning. And I'm not showing you this maybe to impress you but to impress upon you. And the reason why I'm showing you is very simple, just to let you know that regardless of where you might be at the moment, regardless of probably your situation right now at the moment, I was down, but I had a fundamental understanding of certain principles that helped me. And guess what? It have helped my followers. It have helped thousands of people all over the world. And literally right now, one of the conversations I was having with my brother, Dr. Julius, that time, I told him, I said, listen, he was asking me, he said, what's your motivation? I said, I think I have a problem right now. Because I said, there's this problem when you experience success at a very young age. I said, success, though, is good at all age, but the earlier you acquire success, the longer you enjoy it. But the problem also is that most of the things that I've always wanted to do in my life, and that was the challenge I was having with him when we were having the conversation. He was saying, he said, Baba, now you know you need to. I said, brother, but here's my problem. Everywhere I've always ever wanted to be in this world, I've visited. Every kind of car I wanted to drive, I've driven all of it, with the exception of Rolls Royce. And that's simply because I didn't buy it. If I wanted to buy it, I could have. And probably the next on my line, maybe it's probably private jet and all those things. And so what I'm just saying is simple. The life you want is hidden in the knowledge you lack. Did you hear that? The life you want is hidden in the knowledge you lack. Everything that you ever desire is already out there. The reason why you don't have all the things that you desire is simply probably because you don't know how to get it, or you don't have the requisite knowledge on how to get it, or the requisite relationships that will open the door to make it happen. Right? So that's why I tell my friends, in fact, there are 3 pillars through which you're going to build your life. But we're going to start, right? We're going to start by, I'm going to share with you one thing. Everything that I'm going to share with you guys today will not help you except for one thing. Right? That's why I recommend that book, Think and Grow Rich. I recommend it to go and read it. And I don't just want you to read it until the word become flesh. I was having a session and a young guy came into my session, and my friend's mom, who happens to be a multi-millionaire at the age of 27, he was a multi-millionaire in dollars in every aspect in the US, and very successful young man, have private jet, and he's doing very well, much more than myself. And the mom saw one of my friend, and she said, young man, son, I want you to read this book. And the guy turned and he said, Mommy, I've read this book. And she said, son, no, you haven't read this book. And the guy was angry and was saying, he said, Mom, how will you know? She said, son, if you have read this book, I will have seen it on you. Now, I know probably there may be some people on the call will say, well, I've read that book. Let me tell you something. You haven't read it yet. Until what you know produce a result in your life, all you have is an illusion of knowledge. Because the proof of knowledge is result. Until what you know provide or produce result in your life, all you have is information. So many people out there possesses information about things, but they are not necessarily knowledgeable about certain things. Because I tell someone that knowledge is an instruction that have yielded a result. At what point does information become knowledge? It's at the point where the instruction becomes, the instruction of the information yielded to an outcome. So that's why a lot of you guys, probably many people out there read books and then they're not transformed by the books that they read. At most, the book only creates awareness, but it does not transform their life. And that's simple. The reason is very simple. And I'm going to teach you during the course of our session, by the grace of God, all right, how to internalize some of those informations, all right, how to be unstoppable. I was telling some people, even yesterday in a meeting that I went, I said, listen, physically, probably most of you will beat me. All right. If this thing is about physical strength, maybe I wouldn't have some advantage as well. Just like my friend used to say also. But everything that I have is here. My advantage is the knowledge I have in my mind. Today, for most of you, few of you here that know me, you already know that I'm no longer available in the public domain. Right now, I only consult for military government, for military organization and intelligence organizations. Recently, in the last 4 years, I've been consulting for military and intelligence organization in about 2 countries right now, and I'm expanding to about 3 or 4 basically in no time. So the only advantage that I have is here, and guess what? Every one of you here can do the same thing. In the book, Road Ahead, Bill Gates said, there are no differences in people. There are only differences in the informational content of their mind. You see, physically, both myself and yourself, we all look alike. We have eyes, we have ears, we have everything equally the same. But what is the major difference between me and you and him is because the information that he has in his mind. That's why some of the things, my excitement is that anytime I see a group of people striving for the common cause and with the good of acquisition of knowledge, I respect those people. As a matter of fact, I said there are 3 fundamentals, but let's start with one fundamental, which is not part of the 3. Remember, I was trying to make a point. I said everything that I'm sharing will not be of use to you except for one thing. And that's why I told you to go back and read the Think and Grow Rich. And the Think and Grow Rich start with 1 chapter. The first chapter is called Desire. And that's why I told you something earlier. I said desire is the starting point for all meaningful accomplishment. So our journey will have to begin with you having a strong desire, a strong burning desire for accomplishment of whatever set objectives that are important to you. If it's money, if it's $1 million, if it's $2 million, if it's $10 million, if it's $50 million, whatever it is, nothing ever comes to you without desire. And that's why in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon said, after interviewing 500 of the richest people in the world as of that time, he said one of the common denominators that he found across all these 500 people is one thing, is that most of them have burning desire for the accomplishment of something. Right? So you're going to have strong desire for the material accomplishment of whatever set objectives that is important to you. So I call it the big spark. Right? I call it what? The big spark. So here's my advice if you're on the call, and maybe it's an assignment for you this night. Find your reason, find your spark. Find your reason. Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want that $10 million? Why do you want that $1 million? Why do you want that breakthrough? I tell people, I say, oftentimes the challenge, most of the things you need is not actually money. Money has never been your problem. It's what the money can afford. Is what, there are certain things that you want in your life, but money acts as a gateway that gives you access to be able to experience those things. So those are the things that are very important to you. But in this, your journey, I want you to start by finding your reason, finding your why. For me, let me tell you one of my why. My father used to be a wealthy man. And toward the end of his life, things changed. He became broke. And my mom, which was used to affluent life, being very successful, successful life, enjoying all the beautiful things of life, I saw my mom suffer. And so what I did was that, I have this vision board, and in my room, on my ceiling, right, I wrote it, "Do it for mama." And on my wall, my vision board, I wrote it, "Do it for mama." On my phone screen, I wrote it, "Do it for mama." So there are times that I don't feel like going out, but when I see it, it gives me reason. Let me tell you something. Every one of you here on this call is capable of doing great things, so long as you have the right motivation and the right reason. And human being, this is what I figured out. There are certain things sometimes that we cannot be able to do it from ourselves, but we can go out of the world to do it for the people that we care about the most. I give you an example. And I used to give people this example many years ago when I used to do, Pro Genesis class for people who can afford my premium sessions in Hilton that time. And this is what I tell people. I said, listen, and I give you an example. All of you here on this call, you see, if I give you an assignment, if I tell you that by tomorrow this time, we're going to have another session, and I need each and every one of you to make sure that you have 50 people on this call, each and every one to have at least 100 people on this call. If I give you that assignment, I can promise you, I can guarantee you that most of you will not be able to do it. That is not to say that you don't have in you what is needed, what can make you do it, but because you don't have the right motivation. But here is the irony. For some of you that are car lovers, let me give you this irony. Maybe you happen to come around me and I take a key of, let's say, Rolls-Royce Ghost 2024. And I say, hey, brother, brother Tao, brother Fury, or Zasana, or Whitney, or, all of you, all the brothers and the sisters on this call tonight. If I say, listen, this is the key, it's yours. I want you to enter this car, and you entered into the car. You experience every beat of the car. of owning your own Phantom Rolls Royce Ghost 2024. And I even allow you, you take the car, you drive it around, you make sure that all your enemies, all your enemies that says you're not going to make it, you probably even give them a lift in those cars. And then you come back to a meeting to let's say, a designated place where we meet together and we are having a coffee together. And I say, hey, listen, brother, or sister, you know what? That car fits you. It's yours. The only challenge is that I'm having an event in the next 12 hours. And I need you to have 100 people on that call, or else I will take the car key and give it to someone else. How many of you believe that you can do it? Let me see your hand if you believe you can do it. Now, yeah, all of a sudden, now, thank you very much. That's great. That's great. That's great. Now, remember, before now, how come is it that the very thing that I asked you to do was mountainous, was very challenging? It seems like this is impossible. This is not something that I can do. Why is it that all of a sudden it disappears? It becomes the simplest task you can ever do. The only reason is because you have found your own reason. You have a good reason to do what you need to do. You see, if there is a kidnap operation, God forbid, and they kidnap someone, I want us to create a hypothetical situation in our brain. I want you to pretend that the person you love the most happens to fall sick and they needed to have a surgery. All right? And that surgery is going to cost you $1 million. $1 million or the person dies. All right? And somebody, maybe, and I show up in your town and I say, hey, listen, brother or sister, I'm having an event. I want you to get 100 people in the hall in the next 2 hours, and I give you $1 million. If you can't, no $1 million for you. I can guarantee you that that thing that seems mountainous, seems challenging for you, all of a sudden will become the simplest task. You will even be grateful to God that if the only thing you need to do to get $1 million is just to get 100 people in a hall, man, this probably is the most easiest thing I can do. Now, I go back to the same thing. Why is it that what was once upon a time big challenge for you all of a sudden become the easiest task you can do? It's not that all this while you don't have the capacity and the ability to be able to do that thing. It's simply because you didn't have the right reason to do what you need to do. You see, if you don't have the right reason, if you don't find your reason, you will come up with excuses. And excuses are all the things that you say the moment you are not in touch with your reasons. You see, when you're deeply intertwined with your why, nothing is difficult. Now, that's why I tell people that if your why is big enough, you don't have to worry about how to do it. You see, if you don't have big reason, let me tell you one of the things that will happen. You will begin to tell me, well, I need to go and read book on how to invite people or how to talk to people. Besides, I don't know people here. You're going to come up with all those reasons. I guarantee you, that's what your brain does. It will help you to come up with thousands of reasons why that moment is not the best time, why tomorrow is always the best time. So find your reason. For me, it's one mother. It was my mother. I wrote it. I said, you know what? Do it for mama. I remember one time I was talking with my mother and her friend that traveled to Jerusalem for pilgrimage came, and she bought a shoe for my mother, and my mother was so grateful to receive that shoe. And I knew my mom used to be an affluence. I said, Normally, it's not like my mom is an ungrateful person, by the way. She would have still been grateful even for the gesture. But I saw the way she received. I told her, I said, Mama, I said, listen. I said, Mama, as long as I live, every year in your life, you will go for pilgrimage. Every year of your life, you will go to Jerusalem. And every time I go back, I see it, do it for Mama. Now, left for me, there are times I like to sleep like my mates. There are moments I feel like going out, do the things like some of my mates doing. But when I remember, do it for Mom, it gives me a reason. And so everything I'm going to share with you will be not of no use if you don't find that one reason. Your reason can be a person, can be a situation. Maybe you are tired of being less than who you are. Or maybe you've been embarrassed by certain situations because of money, and that becomes a reason. And you say, you know what? Never again will I live life less than who I am capable of being. Or never in my life again will I be in a situation where money becomes a problem. Today, every year, my mom goes for pilgrimage. She went till when she was tired. At the time, she said, I don't want to go again. And it gave me joy. I said, as long as I'm alive, everything that you ever desire, I will make it happen. For the sacrifices that you've made for me, it's my turn to make it, to do the same for you. And here is what I found out. If you can find your reasons, maybe sometimes your reasons may be tied to someone that you love, maybe your kid, your daughter, your son, your friend, someone that you love so much that you just want to see a change in their life. You just want to go out there and bring heaven down to earth to make sure that you give them the life they deserve. Here's what I figured out. Sometimes there are things you might not be able to do it for yourself, but you can do it for the people that you love. So find your mama, find your reason. Never, 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 never should you go to a restaurant and have to check the price before you determine whether you can eat this meal or not. Never again should you go to a restaurant, to a supermarket, and then you have to, your decision as to what you will want to buy have to be dependent on whether, well, you have to check the price first and do some calculations in your brain whether you can afford it. No. Everything out there. See, the life you want is already out there. If you don't have it, it's simply because you don't know how to. But the reason why I'm starting by telling you to find your reason is because of one thing. You see, you have that why is going to be like the fuel, the burning desire that will get you to go out there and make it happen. Yeah. If I ask you guys now to read Think and Grow Rich and summarize it in the next 48 hours, many of you will not do it. If I kidnap the person that you love the most and I say, listen, you do it in 24 hours or this person dies, let me tell you, most of you will do it in 7 hours. What is the difference? It's because there's a good reason. All right? I don't know. Are we together? So that, let me know, so that I just keep talking. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. So, on your quest to greatness, the first principle that I want you to know is one of the first is called the principle of discipline. Write it down. The principles of discipline. The principle of discipline. Discipline is the connecting bridge that connects you to what you want. And when I say discipline, oftentimes I take it back to in our contemporary society where you see parents, the only definition of discipline is beat this child or do this thing even whether you feel like doing it or not. All right? That is not what I mean. The word discipline stem from Greek word, pedia, which means instruction. It means what? Instruction. It means instruction. So the shortcut way to wealth, all right? The distance between wealth and poverty is discipline. The distance between wealth and poverty is wealth discipline. Are you there? So what is discipline? I said discipline means instruction. That's why when you go to medical college, they ask you, what's your discipline? You say medicine. It means you are there to take medical advices, medical instructions for the intended goal. The outcome is so that you become a doctor. What's your discipline? If you're studying engineering, it's called engineering. It means you are there to take engineering instructions from engineers so that you will be an engineer. So the shortest distance between wealth and poverty is called discipline. So here is one thing I want you to remember. Now, because this is basic, it's not advanced, and I never want you to forget this. Remember, I said I don't want to bug you with a lot of information that is not useful. Now, number one, if you want to be a doctor, you study medicine. If you want to be a lawyer, you study law. If you want to be an accountant, you study accounting. If you want to be wealthy, study wealth. You see? That's the shortcut. If you want to be a doctor, you study medicine. You want to be a lawyer, you study law. You want to be an engineer, you study engineering. Most of you want to be wealthy, yet you don't study wealth. And the last time I checked, many people, they only study of wealth. I won't even call it a study. Most people want to be wealthy by faith, by the grace of God. You ask them, I said, how far? I say, yeah, I want to be wealthy by the grace of God. I was in an event, myself and brother Julius, Dr. Julius. I mean, we went for an event he was trying to say in the beginning, and it's actually a church program. And when I went to the program, I was telling them, I said, hey, listen, most of you will be wealthy. And they are saying, amen. I said, you will be prosperous. I said, they said, amen. I said, oh, the money, the wealth of the Gentiles, I mean, of the wicked belongs to the Gentiles. And they were saying, amen. I said, receive it. And they said, amen. I said, you all been scammed. And the church was quiet. I said, you don't become, God doesn't answer your money problems by prayer. If he does, the prayer warriors should have been the most successful people in the world. Now, I am not undermining the place of prayer, but what I'm just saying is that anything of significance that you have to become, you have to study it. Anything of significance that you have to achieve or become, you have to study it. A shoe shiner knows that. Even a tailor, a fashion designer, have to go to a tailoring school to become a tailor. Even someone that can plait hair have to go and learn it. Even to sew clothes, you have to learn it. To be a good cook, you go to culinary school. To be a good farmer, sometimes people have to study many things. The only thing people never study is wealth, yet in their heart, they want to be wealthy. And I'm sure many people here, how do you want to become? He said, how do you want to become wealthy? By the grace of God. Okay, let's do it this way. Most of you here that are on the call, let's do it this way. Now, it is written in the Bible that whatever 2 or 3 agrees on earth, it is settled in heaven. That when you declare a decree, it shall be established. So I can see here we are many. So we declare, I decree, all right? Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay, okay.
Yes, we
So
are.
we,
Yes, we're here,
we
sir. We're here, sir.
awesome. We, all of us together, unanimously agree that by tomorrow this time, you will be a medical doctor in Jesus' name. Somebody should shout amen.
Amen.
Why are some of you laughing? Okay, let's change the narrative. I decree that by tomorrow this time, you will be an accomplished accountant in Jesus' name. By tomorrow this time, you will be an accomplished engineer, even without studying engineering. Yeah. So, you know, something in your brain tells you that you're not supposed to say that. Something in your brain tells you that no, that's not how it works. There are processes to these things. I have to study it. The only way I can be a doctor is to go to medical college and get medical instruction so that I can be a doctor in the end. You know that the only way you can be a good, successful Forex trader, I can see my brother here, he trade Forex, Mr. Gab, all right? The only way, you know that you spend hours of learning, watching programs, following people that have done it. You know that to even be a successful fashion designer, even the things that you're doing right now, you didn't just get there by chance. You studied yourself into it. Either you learned it from someone, or you've been to college, university, that you learned yourself through it. You have all the time in this world to learn everything, but one thing which is very important to you, you neglect. Most of you here have never taken any class on wealth. I can tell you for a fact. I was telling someone, there's a conference of academians. So they invited me, and I was telling them the need of having wealth education in our curriculum. But so one of the vice chancellor of one of the universities says, yeah, that they should consider having it. And maybe they were going to talk to the National University Commission, to find a way how they can include it in the curriculum. I said, but there's a big problem. The problem is that wealth education cannot be taught in a classroom. Then they say, wow, what do you mean? I said, because most schools cannot afford it. They said, no, we'll just put it as part of the curriculum. I said, no, that's wrong. I said, and I want you guys to follow up with me. I asked them a question. I said, when you became a doctor, you went to medical college. When you went to medical college, who were your teachers? Most of them said, doctors. Yes, I said, good. I said, most of you here are accountants, and you went to accounting college. When you went to study accounting, who were your teachers? They said most of them are accomplished accountants. I said, good. If you want to be a lawyer, you go to law college, and most people that are teaching you the law act themselves, most of them are lawyers. They say yes. I say, so if you want to be wealthy, who should be your teachers? You see why conventional schools cannot afford wealth education? Because I will not, and to be very honest, I don't know how some people even does it. I cannot have the confidence to come and say, I'm going to teach someone wealthy if I am not wealthy myself. So in the school of wealth, your teachers are supposed to be wealthy people. I'll give an example. You can imagine you are in a classroom where in the morning you have Mark Zuckerberg. In the afternoon, you have Bill Gates. In the following day, you have Elon Musk. The next day, you have me. The other day, you have someone like Dangote. The other day, you have someone like my brother. Even if your head is dumb, there's no way that at least you will not be able to get something. So remember, Number one, find your reason. But when you find your reason, the first principle, the shortest distance between wealth and poverty is called wealth discipline. And what is discipline? I said that discipline means instruction. I want you to make a pledge to yourself that from today, you pledge to be a wealth student. And never again should you leave this aspect of your life to chance, but you're going to devote your time, your intellect, your skills to study this thing called wealth. There's literally anything that you want to do out there that there are no people that have not done it and have not probably documented the easiest way to do it. So next one. I want you to write it down. Invest yourself in knowledge. I used to tell one of the principles, these are the principles of developing knowledge. I said, devote yourself to acquire the knowledge of wealth education. If you look at, I saw my friend talking to you guys about a week ago. He was talking to you about the etymology of knowledge, about how knowing gives you age. I used to tell people that there are no differences in people, there are only differences in the things they know. Unless your knowing gives you age, you don't know it. Today is not the time for me to go into the etymology deep to show you some of the things that you have to look out for. Remember, I said from the beginning, today is just a foundation. It's just a foundation. And this is not even a lecture or it's not a seminar. It's just a discussion between brothers and sisters and friends. We're just having a conversation. That's what I just believe like. But my mentor used to tell me something. He said, Hyeladi, there are 3 types of knowledge. The first type of knowledge is called learned knowledge. These are knowledge you acquire from books, from seminars, from workshops. They are great, but in themselves, they cannot transform you. They cannot change you. They cannot give you the kind of results you want. If they can give you, everybody that I've read Think and Grow Rich should have been a rich person. But there is a way to read it, which I'm going to teach you, that will help you in order to drive out that value. So first type knowledge is called learned knowledge, but you have to follow that first one because that learned knowledge creates what we call expand your awareness of the world. It creates awareness, it expands your knowingness. For example, let me give you an example. Wherever you are right now, I can tell you for a fact, the city that you are living right now, there are people that earn $5,000 a month. And in that same city that you're living right now, there are people that earn $100,000 a month. And guess what? In that same city, there are people that earn $500,000 a month. Simply because you don't earn it doesn't mean someone is not earning it. And the problem is that the person that is earning the person that is earning $5,000 a month, it's not that they cannot be able to earn $500,000 a month. It's just that they are not aware of what to do in order to earn $500,000. So when you lack awareness, you will miss opportunities. That's why I told you that also go for the learned knowledge, because learned knowledge expands your awareness. But the second knowledge that you have to look out for, all right? The second type of knowledge that you need to look out for is called model knowledge. It's called model knowledge. This is what my mentor taught me. He said, Hyeladi, if this is the only thing I've taught you in this life, just make sure you use it very well. He said, in anything, in any area in this life, there are three kinds of people. There are the bottom 97%, there are the middle class, which is about the 27%, and then there are top 3%, which are the successful people. He said, your goal is in any area of endeavor, that you want to become successful at, find the top 3% that are successful in that area and hang around them. He said, model them, learn what they learn. We live in a world of cause and effect. For every result, there is a cause. Poverty is a result. Wealth is a result. Ill health is a result. Overweight is a result. So if you can find the causes of the result, if you repeat the same thing that they did, you will get the same result as they have. So I'll never forget, I was sharing with my brother. My brother have met him before. My brother Julius have met him before. And one time we were talking in the US, he told me, he said, listen, Hyeladi, I went to school. The pass mark is 30. I mean, it's 120 in America, and I got 33 out of 100. And so I had limited future because I couldn't do well in school. But here is what happened to me. I went to an event and I saw a guy that was making $3 million a month. And I said, if this individual is earning this type of money, I am going to replicate the same thing he did. I will not consider changing anything or adding to anything. The problem with a lot of people is that, they said, well, I learned this from this guy and I'm going to add it with my own. But if your wisdom was good enough, you shouldn't have, you wouldn't have been where you are. So he took a cameraman, he recorded the mentor from beginning of the event to another. He followed him to 3 different events. He went home. He said for 2 weeks, he put it on auto record. He told me, he said, Hyeladi, I vow to myself that if this guy is making this kind of money by saying the same thing, cracking the same joke, doing this type of business, I'm going to be part of it. And guess what? I will not consider even cracking my own joke or adding anything from my own wisdom, because if my wisdom were good enough, I shouldn't have been a poor man. Guess what? He did it. And after 6 months thereafter, he moved from 0 to $250,000 a month. Last year, he came to Nigeria. I was in Nigeria. We were together, and he told me that he just started one company, his business, and in 4 months, he did about $30 million. He's a school dropout, have no any formal education, and he's doing excellently very well. In fact, the way his mentor have a problem with his leg, so he don't walk straight. And guess what? That's how he walks. He walks the way the mentor walks. And today, I remember some times ago, I was asking him, just joking, I said, why do you walk like your mentor? He said, Hyeladi, $2 million a month, $3 million a month, who knows whether it's in the work? I'm not going to leave anything to chance. I tell people that there's nothing wrong being a copycat. Just make sure you copy the right cat. You've relied on them for so long. If your wisdom was good enough, you wouldn't probably have been where you are right now. So find mentors. Find people who have done exactly what it is that you wanted to do and learn from them. If possible, serve them. In that act of service, you will learn the secrets of their success. So the first one is learn knowledge. Second one is called model knowledge. And third one is called activity knowledge. You see, everything you learn, everything you model is not useful unless you act on that knowledge. unless you put yourself into it. You give out your best into the activity. Because by thoughts and in the mental world, all things are given to you. But in this physical world, everything, for you to have something, you have to work. The reason why we get knowledge is because we want to make sure that our effort is powered by the right knowledge. The difference between me and some people that does what I do is simply because they have to make up in hard work what they lack in knowledge. So I make up what I lack in hard work in knowledge. Conversely, while for them is the opposite. Even though they work 10 times more than me, I make 10 times more than them, simply because I make up in knowledge what I lack in physical effort. But it doesn't mean that I don't put the physical effort. But I make sure that my knowledge is powered. My effort is powered by the right knowledge. And that's what you wanted to do. Someone came to me and was telling me about his business. I said, there's no problem with your business. Because if I go back to the same business you're complaining about, I can show you many people that are doing excellently very well. If you're not doing well as you should, chances are that there are certain things you're supposed to know that you don't know. Or chances are that you even know some of the things, but you're not doing the things that you know. Because there are three things to do if you have to be successful. You have to know what you want, you have to know what to do, and you have to do what you know. Know what you want, know what to do, and you have to do what you know. All right? So I know our time has first spent, and we have not even started. I have more than 50 different principles that I want to share with you, but I know because of time, and I know the way our human mind works also is that the longer it takes, the more probably we may lose focus. But I am sure, remember, this is just for us to get to know each other, to just share ideas among ourselves. But I can promise you that until next time, it's going to be crazy. We're going to have good time. And when my brother was sharing with me the vision of some of the things that he have for you guys, I can't even imagine that someone out there have a heart for people like that, to just willingly give himself up to see that a lot of people's life are being transformed in a powerful way. You guys have no idea who you guys have over there. I can tell you for a fact, and this I know, not many people do know that, but I know for sure that that's why I didn't even hesitate when he shared with me the vision of some of the things that he wanted. I didn't even hesitate. Normally, he knows that I'm no longer available for public programs like that anymore. All right. For some of you that knows me, you already know that mostly right now I'm just available for top secret organizations and government and intelligence organizations and military. All right. And that has been just what I've been doing lately. Because guys, man, you have to know what works for you. I remember when I made that transition, I was talking with my brother. He was asking me, say, Hyeladi, why do you stop having, being in the public domain like that, in public program? I told him, I said, listen, I said, poverty is when large effort produce small results.
Absolutely.
Let me repeat. Poverty is when large effort produce small results. But wealth happens when small effort is amplified through knowledge and leverage to give you maximum outcome. So I said the laws of 80-20 principles. So I told him, I said, listen, I want to go to a place where I work less, put 20% of my effort and get 80% of all the money I need. And I discovered that defense in every country, defense takes almost 1/3 of their budget. I said, well, that's where I should be. And next time I'm going to teach you something. But before then, I'm going to leave you with one thing. I used to tell my friends, I said, don't be the best at what you do. Be the only one that can do what you do. Did you get that? Don't be the best at what you do. Be the only one that can do what you do. Maybe until then, when we meet, I'm going to show you. The question that people are asking is, Hyeladi, how can I be the only one that do what I do? Is it realistically possible? Let me tell you guys. I am not saying that you may be the only person that does what you do in the world, but what I'm saying is that you can be so good that the difference between you and the next person is like heaven and earth. So when something comes to people's mind and you are not the one that comes to their mind, just know that you're not the one with the money. Right, brothers? It's a great pleasure and for me being here, and I can't thank my brother enough, all right, for having this vision. And it's amazing, brothers. It's really amazing, and I count it all joy to connect with all of you guys. And I hope that I'm gonna connect more and more and more. I know there is no time. Conventionally, in most of my sessions, we last for 5, 6, 7 hours, and sometimes we even run overnight, especially in physical events. But I can't wait. And my brother is cooking a lot of great things for you guys. And I can promise you, this I know, that if you follow some of the things and you follow him diligently, I can tell you that he will not misguide you. He will not mislead you. He will be able to help you. Thank you, guys. I still remain, right? And God bless you. May you be Hyeladified.
Thank you so much. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. When I say brother, again, someone was asking me a week ago, who is another copy of you? And I said, whenever I'm thinking about anything in life, I have a brother. Anytime you want to know what I'm doing, he's the only person that can actually be in my subconscious mind, because we work together in the same zone. Because we think alike, we do things alike. And I know a lot of you that knows me, we also testify to that as well. Brother, this is powerfully packed. I'm really grateful for this impact of knowledge and nuggets that you've been able to dish out today. And I know if I give you a whole day, even a whole day is not even enough. We might not be able to finish. But the thing is, when I was saying the other time to every one of you that, you know what? When I say this session normally, right, if I'm to invite my brother, and I do know some people have actually been able to see some things before, prior to this time, but the thing is, I do have a lot of witnesses. And this is not even an introduction. It's not even up to, you know, when you pick any book anytime, any day, you'll be able to know that that book, when you read the abstract, you've not even gone to the abstract. You see, you know, when you say you want to design a thesis or maybe something you want to write, we've not even started the introduction. We've not scratched anything, you know. And this is one thing I'm not taking for granted, you know. When I say, guys, let me even take a sample at the moment. I'm not going to be, normally I should take questions, but I know it's going to a meeting now in about 5 minutes time, and I don't want to delay time. And obviously, you'll notice that we don't publicize any of this. And this is what I always tell people, that, you know what, guys, I'm not a public domain person. If I put this kind of invitation out there, any of my things when I did, I would have minimum of about 10,000 people in attendance for free. But why do I want to go with quantity over quality? And that's why it's a privilege that you actually having this opportunity. And also, I know a lot of people want to ask questions. We would have actually given a room for questions. But my brother, you know what? I'm not going to be giving a room for any question for tonight, because there's going to be more time in the future that we're going to have a lot of questions, because time has gone. We only wanted to spend 2 hours for this session. And again, we're planning, every one of us, we're planning something big. When I mean something big, for September, in our last meeting, we mentioned about the time. And you know what? I think before my brother actually goes, I wanted to actually play, because there was something we were discussing about. He was actually offering scholarship worth over 20,000 US dollars. You know what? When I say I force you to succeed in life, you know, that kind of thing. You know, there are some people, I always tell them that sometimes your life, sometimes some people in your village, they might come. Even your ancestors, some will say my ancestors or what, in South African way. If they say you never succeed, there are some people you meet in life that you always get succeed. And this is the circle. And you know what? We have practiced the Bible principle, the principle of the wise. Just like when my brother was mentioning, when you come to my place, these are some of the books or some of what that I normally use to crack. You know, this is a biscuit as well. You know what I mean? It's a biscuit. I remember when I got this biscuit from my brother. Around 2 a.m., we were about to discuss something. And he said, my brother, Teach to be Rich is one of those. There are a lot of books. And, you know, instead of me spending those money those days, instead of me spending money in food or what, I give myself to study. And even tonight, just as an example, I have 3 notes I was taking. My MacBook was right there. My book was right there. And I took a lot of notes, if you look through. Because if you don't study, you can't get to know. And you can't even give what you don't have. So guys, I did plead with my brother. He's actually giving scholarship out, but I wanted him to actually see if we can consider maybe about, because we do have about 7 provinces or 9 provinces in South Africa, 9. And I said to him, brother, please, from this scholarship you want to give to this world for these businesses, I really want you to see how you can actually give only 5%. And there's a strict criteria for it. And I said, I'm not going to be the one to be able to, but there's a lot of things that is being cooked underneath. And one of those things is that you must have a business. Another thing is that you must have actually started something. And you must be ready to be able to produce something in about, it's going to give you about a few minutes. I'm just going to give him some floor to just tell us about the scholarship, because he has a blueprint. It's not my blueprint, but it's a privilege for something that worth over 20,000 US dollars. But I say, you know, brother, please just do me a favor, this 5. But I'll be privileged if it's going to give more than that. You know, space is not always available. That's one thing. We are not available in public space. So, brother, over to you, please.
Okay, see this, my brother. You know, I don't know why you love this your people so much. I deliberately choose not to talk about that. But since you have now brought me back, I think it's okay. It's just a sign that you are a true leader, and and you also have a heart for people. Else, you probably wouldn't want to do that. So, recently, some group of people came and met me, and they said that I have not been fair to a lot of people. And I said, what do you mean that I've not been fair? They said, yes. The reason why is since you've decided to go off the public domain, most of the time you're only with the military. And many times people don't get to drive some benefit from you directly anyway. So, but I know the problem. I said, even if I come to the public domain now, my price have increased. Most of you cannot afford me anymore. $5,000, you can't be in my session anymore. And because what the military have done for me is that now I have enough time to be able to study more, to understand more about business systems, about creating, about business formations, creating and scaling businesses, and also bringing intelligence, real intelligence into businesses and into life. It has been amazing, to be very honest, amazing. So I decided to consider that, okay, I'm going to give free scholarship. I mean, the fact that you're not paying doesn't mean that someone is not paying for, right? And so I decided, for example, in Nigeria, I'm giving scholarship to 5 individuals for every state. And there are about 36 states plus the FCT, which makes 37. In total, about 185 people generally. And it's going to be a rigorous program. I'm going to teach you from the foundations of how to upscale your business, how to expand your business. By the way, you know, I was consulting for someone, it's a group then, and the guy was saying, we want to expand our business in this area. I said, point of correction, you don't expand the business. You expand the mind that create the business, and the business will be expanded. The problem is that if you don't expand the mind that create the business and expand the business will crash. So yeah, so part of what I hope to do is just a free scholarship. But remember, the fact that you're not paying doesn't mean that it's not being paid for, right? So it's going to be sponsored by my foundation and Progenesis group and some other groups that are coming together to make sure that just five people per state. And so I was talking with my brother, and he said there is this people that he loved so much that he would want them to be part of it. And I said, well, I didn't actually plan for it for them. I only planned for this, my people. And that's why I deliberately didn't say anything about it. But, you know, he's so smart enough to drive me back. So, brother, I can see the love you have for these people. And I want to support the movement and what you're doing. So whatever it is, I will give it up to you. If you like, the state is yours. Yeah.
Wow.
Any number of people you choose to give them scholarship, just take it from my heart. That is granted.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Now there is a condition. One, they must be hungry. Anybody coming to this must be hungry. And secondly, they must be teachable, trainable, and coachable, because there's going to be a lot of exercises, a lot of studies, and a lot of group discussions. And thirdly, you must have a business. You must have a business. You must have something that you're doing. It's very important. And of course, I'm going to also group some of them into having partners among each other, people accountability to be accountable to each other. So you must be able to be accountable, basically, because we will not want to leave you to yourself. So someone have to be a guide and some of those things. So brother, because of you, and even though I tried, because the more the people, the more it's going to stress me. And actually that's why I just want that small number. And my goal, one of the things I wanted to do was just the small number, but since you have come into the picture, I think whatever it is, you're welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for this. I think again, the course is actually going to be for about, I think, 6 weeks, isn't it? 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 8 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
But I'm also going to be part of the team as well. So hopefully, because there's nothing my brother does that I don't get involved. There's nothing I do doesn't get involved in this way. So it's a thing that's going to be a lot of, what do I call it? You must be ready to work. This one is not I'm tired, you know, this. If you don't get tired of it, you can't get there. Just like what my brother said, discipline is an hallmark of greatness. And you know, with this, I'm really grateful to my brother for this. So I think with this criteria, we're gonna put this onto a poll, hopefully, and also more details in terms of registration, because I know there is a registration link ongoing. There's a lot of fun on that, and there's a lot of faculties and things like that. So I'll see how I'm going to be able to update the team once that is ready. But I know it's going to be in August, isn't it? It starts in August.
Yeah.
Or when is it starting?
Yeah.
August.
Yes.
Okay.
We're looking at August, but it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. Let me tell you the truth. If you are not tired of where you are is tired of you. Move. I'm telling you.
Again, I know there's a lot of people. Yeah. There's a lot of people on this forum that I don't even need to say much, but they know what we do. I saw Henry Obu on here in recent times. I can see Ari Nover was just joining as well. And I can see Henry Yamayaze. They've all been in this. They know what to do. And I can tell, again, that I'm going to give more details, but we might be looking at, maybe I might plead for the 9 provinces to be covered, but maybe 2 people per province, perhaps. But there's going to be a lot of scrutiny towards that once the registration is opened. And also, just to give 1 or 2 announcements around this again, last 2 weeks when we had a meeting, we talked about a big event, a big gathering where people are going to be traveling and hopefully going to be joining us as one of the guest speakers then in September. We agreed that there's going to be a September event. Is it September or October? What day did we? Yeah, it was September. Am I right?
It was September. Yes, sir. We agreed for September.
So what I did was that just this past week I was in Johannesburg. I went to Kempton Park. I went to the Palace Emperor, which is one of the biggest conference hall in South Africa. And I went to make a lot of inquiry about it. I flew down, spent about 3 days within that zones. And I can tell you it's like heaven on earth. that area. So I believe we can pull it through. And we are looking at about 500 people. And I tell you, 500 is even nothing. But that's just going to be the benchmark for that. So on these notes, with what we have actually started discussing about last week, we had people that are actually last 2 weeks that nominated themselves to be in a team. We do need a lot of people. Everyone must actually be in the work. That's one thing I want you to know. This is going to be a movement that's going to be blowing everybody's mind. Where you're going to say, you've not even heard anything, you've not seen anything. And I can tell you within your midst in here, there are millionaires, there are billionaires, but it's one thing that has actually worked with us. We always cover people, but you just see people by names here and there. But at the same time, I just want to put up, if you any of this group that you want to join for these big events in September, there's going to be an invitation in case you want to attend from anywhere in the world. There's going to be an invitation prepared towards that can make you to also attend as well. Because we want to have about 2-day events for that session. And it's going to be one of those events where you've never had in your lifetime. And also, these particular persons are people that are leading various groups. I know the groups for logistics. We do have different groups for logistics. We have Mr. Frank in there, and we have Mr. Daraj, who is not available today, and we have Mrs. Portia as well. Those are people that are in logistics. If you want to join them, please make sure you contact them. Mr. Frank is online at the moment. Mrs. Portia is online as well. And also, we do have a program last 2 weeks for program team coordinator for the program. How it's going to run. We do have Whitney in that program. Am I sure? Is it Whitney Megan? Right?
Yes,
we do
sir.
have Neil in the program as well. Mrs. Neil as well. Sorry, I'm not putting the Mrs. But pardon me if I put just your name because I know everyone is actually taking one way or the other. And we do have Toko as well. And I hope you all have their contacts as well. And we do need people to actually join these various groups as well. And we do have for ticketing and designs. We do have graphics, anything that has to do with publicities and things like that. We do have Bratabo and Nasima. So we will start conversing now. So I want to believe that we can have maybe a committee meeting so we can start with some of these here and there. So these are the team leaders of these various groups, and we can actually talk about some of these things. Please contact them. They're all on the platform. They're on the group now. Just make sure you talk to any of the group if you want to stay current about the program. And it's going to be ticketed, and people that live within those areas that wants to be able to just come in, they might not be able to stay over. That's fine. But we're only looking at some of the set Friday, Saturday, I think. That was the 2 days we talked about. So with this, I believe maybe when I try to meet these team leaders during this group this week, we're going to be able to start discussing about what's going to be the rationale and overall plan for this, and also the codes for the venues and what move it out, because there's an email that will be going out tomorrow, hopefully to the team in Emperor Palace in Johannesburg for that. And as well with this, I also want to let every one of you know that this is a journey. Wealth, to be wealthy, is not just a one-day event. It's a thing that you've got to be determined around. And because from my heart of heart, I do love every one of you. I want to see you succeed. Because when you, like now, maybe let's say we are 70 in the group or maybe 30 in the group, if we hold ourselves together, it's going to be able to empower every one of us. Imagine when we're going for an event and you come in a Rolls Royce, I come in my Rolls Royce, or some of us flew down with private jets. And that is evangelism on its own for wealth creation. And that's my dream. That's the dream for every one of you, because I just want every one of you. I want to force you to get succeed in anything you want to do. With this, guys, I don't want to take much of the time, but I can see one or two ends so that it won't be that we've actually been able to we've not been able to get to the bottom of the conversation tonight. I'm sure, to recap with this, a lot of you are taking notes. When my brother talks about you have everything it takes you to succeed in terms of the experience, it is you that you need to allow that to be. And he said, don't be concerned about what the calendar says. And this is very useful because it is the value that you drive from the calendar. And it talks about the true success, that it is not about what you do, it is about how you become and what you become about it. You can stumble on money, but that doesn't make you become rich or wealthy. You can have millions in your account, and that doesn't make you a millionaire. And when you look at it in a true holistic view, you've got to know that what makes you a millionaire is what is inside you. So with this, having a strong why, which is one of our major questions and take home for today, is what is that big why? That why is a capital one. There is a book called Why, W-H-Y. So if you are in the group, it's an assignment I want everybody to go through now. Because if you don't discover your true why, what is the real why that you're part of this group? Or how did you get in? Why do you want to become successful? So I want to see what is your why. What's that passion? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to get that thing done? Why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to become free? And a lot of things here and there, guys. There's no time for this, and I want us to see this assignment. We're going to be meeting in 2 weeks' time, hopefully. And with all this adult team, we're going to be meeting intermittently before the 2 weeks. Because of time, I want to round us now. So hopefully our next meeting is going to be on the 7th of July. So any questions before we go? Any question, guys? Please unmute your mic and talk to me. Any questions?
No questions from my side, but I'd just like to say thank you.
Oh, thank God. Okay, any question, guys? Any question about the program? Any question